Well, hello everyone who one day may see this video, and you may hear my cat Milo because he's reading with me right now. But I was sitting here this evening and I was reading this book, The Secret of the Ages. And I decided that I really would love to record this chapter that I just started reading. It's chapter 17 of the book, The Secret of the Ages. The title of the chapter is, well, let me tell you who The Secret of the Ages is by first, so that you know. But one day I'm going to record the whole book, but right now I cannot do that, so I'm going to just read this chapter. The Secret of the Ages. Where is it? Right here. The Secret of the Ages was written originally in 1926 by Robert Collier. This is chapter 17 that I'm reading tonight, and it's called The Secret of Power. And I wanted to share this book because once I started reading it, it was very powerful, I thought. So hopefully one day soon I'll get to record the whole book. Until then, here we go. I normally just do an audio, but since I'm sitting here reading and the camera's in front of me, I'm going to do it by video. The great were once as you, they whom men magnify today, once groped and blundered on life's way, were fearful of themselves and thought, by magic was men's greatness wrought. They feared to try what they could do, yet fame hath crowned with her success the self-same gifts that you possess. Edgar A. Guest. And I think what that poem is saying is that those who are magnified today by society, worshipped, basically, because that's really where we are in this world. We worship people who have money, fame, and success. Those people were once the same as you. That's what this poem is saying. They were afraid. They were afraid to step out and do the thing that they really desired to do. They were afraid of what people were going to think of them, but they found the courage to do it. And so this poem is saying they found the courage to do it and they were successful at it. And their gifts are no different than the gifts that you possess. That's what this poem is saying. And I appreciate that because I know that it's very, very true. So, there is a woman in one of the big eastern cities whose husband died a year or two ago and left her nearly $1 million. She has unlimited power in her hands, yet she uses none of it. She has unlimited wealth, yet she gets no more from it than if it were in the thousands instead of millions. She knows nothing of her power, of her wealth. She is insane. You have just as great power in your hands, without this poor woman's excuse for not using it. You have access to unlimited ideas, unlimited energy, unlimited wealth. The open sesame is through your subconscious mind. So as long as you limit yourself to superficial conditions, as long as you are a mere hewer of wood or carrier of water, for those around you who do use their minds, you are in no better position than the beast of burden. The secret of power is in understanding the infinite resources of your own mind. Seriously. When you begin to realize that the power to do anything, to be anything, to have anything, is within yourself, then and only then will you take your proper place in this world. As Bruce Barton has it in The Man Whom Nobody Knows, Somewhere, at some unforgettable hour, the daring filled his heart. He knew that he was bigger than Nazareth. That is referring to the story of the man named Jesus. Again, in speaking of Abraham Lincoln, Barton says, inside himself, he felt his power, but where and when would opportunity come? And later in the book, but to every man of vision, the clear voice speaks. Nothing splendid has ever been achieved except by those who dared believe that something inside them was superior to circumstance. We all feel that there is something inside of us that wants to express, but we are afraid to express it. We are afraid. We use the excuse that, well, it's too late now. You know, some of us have a desire to sing and have a glorious voice, but we're afraid because we didn't start young. We think that since we didn't start young and we haven't been doing it all our lives, that we can't be successful at it, and that's just simply not true. There's a power within us that if we step into the desire that we have, the power within us will bring forth everything we need to be successful in that desire. That's the way it works. No doubt, Jesus' friends and neighbors all ridicule the idea of any such power within him, just as most people today laugh at the thought of a power such as that within themselves. Well, I have to tell you that statement right there, I just recorded a video the other day basically saying the exact same thing. So signs follow, they do not precede. This is the sign for me that I am doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, because this statement right here, I just created a video that says this exact same thing. No doubt, Jesus' friends and neighbors all ridicule the idea of any such power within him, just as most people today laugh at the thought of a power such as that within themselves. And I am the one who is always telling people about this power that they have within them to be great, to succeed, to be prosperous, to do whatever it is that they want to do and be successful at it. I tell them that they have the power within them all the time. But of course, we don't believe that about ourselves because we've been so conditioned to believe that all of our power is outside of us. And that comes from the teachings, the religious teachings about God. There is not a person out here who believes in the Christian faith who does not believe that God is separate from them, even though they always say that they know that God is not separate from them. If you know that, then who are you crying out to? Because God is within you. So who are you crying out to? Who is this God you're crying out to? Who is this God that you're always talking about? God did this for me and God did that for me. If the God is in you, then the God is you. So they go on with their daily grind, with the gaunt specters of sickness and need ever by their side until death comes as a welcome relief. Damn. Are you going to be one of those? Or will you listen to that inner consciousness of power and find the kingdom of heaven that is within you? For whatever you become conscious of will be quickly brought forth into tangible form. I came and sat down in front of this camera tonight, and I was going to talk about all of the people that I love who have transitioned from their bodies in the last 2 years. And trust me when I tell you, it has been many. And I wanted to talk about that because notice I didn't call it death. And that is what I wanted to talk about. But instead, nothing came forth when I sat down. And so I just sat here and thought, well, maybe I'll read something on my tablet. That didn't resonate with me either. And then I said, well, maybe I'll read something new that I haven't read before. And I thought of this book that I've had forever, that I've wanted to read for even longer than that. It's called The Prosperity Bible. It's got a lot of the great teachers from the early 1900s and even some from the 1800s, I imagine. A lot of their books are included in this compilation. So I went and retrieved the book. And when I flipped through, I realized that a lot of the books I have individually as well. But I landed on this page and this chapter. And that's not by mistake. That's by divine orchestration. Because what I just read to you is what I've been talking about with my family recently, and been called crazy because of it. And while I'm not surprised, and I am surprised actually, but I shouldn't be, because there was a time when someone was trying to teach me this information and I didn't receive it either. So it's true what they say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And if the student is not ready, they do not hear anything that you are saying. But I believe in planting seeds. And I want to always plant a seed, no matter where I go or who I'm speaking with. I want to plant a seed. I feel as though most people want to impose their God upon you. Why can't you speak about what you believe your God to be to them? It's not always received, and that's fine. But if you're going to talk about your God to me, I'm going to talk about you being God, because that's what I believe you are. But just everything that I've just read right now is what has been present in my conversations lately. And so I'm grateful for the confirmation to know that I am doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing and have the courage to speak up about it. I have made a decision in my life that I am no longer going to participate in the false teachings of religion. I've done a lot of research, and I read a lot of information about how the Bible was written and translated over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. If you just even look at the many, many versions of the Bible right now that's in English, not to mention any other language, you will see for yourself that there's no possible way that any entity called God could have written this book. There is a lot of useful information in it if properly interpreted, but you cannot allow someone else to interpret that for you. What I have found is that the way that the scriptures were taught to our ancestors who were slaves, I'm not going to say the way that it was taught to them. I'm going to say the way that it was forced upon them who were slaves is the same way it's being taught today. And so there's no way I could follow that. There's no way I could follow that, because everything that was done to my ancestors who were slaves was done to control them and to keep them in bondage. So why would I follow a religion that did such as that, doesn't that mean that I would still remain in bondage, and you as well? It does. So let's go on. I'm going to read that paragraph again. So they go on with their daily grind, with the gaunt specters of sickness and need ever by their side, until death comes as a welcome relief. Are you going to be one of those? Or will you listen to that inner consciousness of power and find the kingdom of heaven that is within you? For whatever you become conscious of will be quickly brought forth into tangible form. Don't judge your ability by what you have done in the past. Your work heretofore has been done with the help of your conscious mind alone. Add to that the infinite knowledge at the disposal of your subconscious mind, and what you have done is as nothing to what you will do in the future. So basically it's saying you've only been operating on the conscious mind level. If you allow yourself to believe in and utilize your subconscious mind, that is to trust the power that's in you to guide you, to listen to the directions that it gives you and the ideas that it funnels through you, that you will change your life. For knowledge does not apply itself. It is merely so much static energy. You must convert it into dynamic energy by the power of your thought. The difference between the $25 a week clerk and the $25,000 a year executive is solely one of thought. The clerk may have more brains than the executive. The clerk may have more brains than the executive, frequently has an actual weight of gray matter. The clerk may have more brains than the executive, frequently has an actual gray matter. He may even have a far better education, but he doesn't know how to apply his thought to get the greatest good from it. If you have brains, use them. If you have skill, apply it. The world must profit by it, and therefore you. We all have inspired moments when we see clearly how we may do great things, how we may accomplish wonderful undertakings, but we do not believe in them enough to make them come true. An imagination which begins and ends in daydreaming is weakening to character. Make the daydreams come true. Make them so clear and distinct that they impress themselves upon your subconscious mind. There's nothing wrong with daydreaming, except that most of us stop there. We don't try to make dreams come true. Let me stop right here because, I'm going to finish this paragraph first. We don't try to make dreams come true. The great inventor Tesla dreams every new machine complete and perfect in every particular before ever he begins his model for it. Mozart dreamed each of his wonderful symphonies complete before ever he put a note on paper. Wow. But they didn't stop with the dreaming. They visualized those dreams and then brought them into actuality. When I tell y'all that I just wrote this down last night in an email and sent it to my son and said, this is what you must do. I'm so grateful right now because I know that I am telling the truth about who we are. And if none of you listen to me, you will continue to struggle in the next life too. And if you don't start teaching your kids the truth about who they are going to struggle just like you. It's not supposed to be this way. We're not supposed to live this way. There's greatness in each and every one of us. We have brilliant minds because our minds are one with the mind of creation. But we refuse to believe it. We refuse to believe anything except that false teaching that was forced upon our ancestors. And I tell you right now, reading each one of these paragraphs right now confirms for me that everything that I've been saying is true. And I already knew that it was true because I've done the research and I've done the work and I've studied and I've mastered and I've sat with it, and that spirit within me has already told me what the truth is. And I believe it. And I stand firm in it. And I will not stand down. So yes, these are tears of pure joy, confirmation, and I'm grateful for them. Now, I don't have nothing to clean my eyes, so I can keep reading. I'm going to have to use my eyeglass rag for that then. All these things that I just wrote down to share with other people, and I had not read this book before. I've read lots of other writings from these authors, but I had not read this book before. So, we lose our capacity to have visions if we do not take steps to realize them. So basically what this explains is that our imagination is key to our success. As children, we imagine so much. Everything we do when we play, we're imagining. We're imagining characters, made up characters and made up scenes and all kinds of things like that. But at some point, we stop. You know, we go to school and they say, stop daydreaming, or your parent tells you to stop daydreaming. I'm sure I was guilty of doing that to my own children because I didn't know any better at the time. But basically it says that you must continue to imagine, you must continue to dream about the things that you want to do. If you want to be a successful writer, you have to start dreaming about writing and about the stories that you're going to write about. But what it's telling us here is that Tesla and Mozart, these great successful musicians and creators, they didn't just dream. They imagined what they wanted from beginning to end, and they didn't start it until they had imagined the entire scene. Tesla was an inventor. If he had an idea for an invention that he had in a dream, then he would imagine himself creating that invention from beginning to end. And then he would start it because then he knew that it was already done. Same with Mozart, the great famous classical musician. Mozart would dream of a symphony, but he wouldn't stop at the dream. Then he would imagine himself playing the symphony from beginning to end, writing the symphony from beginning to end. And then he would not play it or write it until he had imagined it complete. That is powerful. That is powerful. Power implies service. So concentrate all your thought on making your visions of great deeds come true. Thinking is the current that runs the dynamo of power. Oh, I like that. To connect up this current so that you can draw upon universal supply through your subconscious mind is to become a Superman. Do this, and you will have found the key to the solution of every problem of life. End of chapter. And what a great chapter it is. and I'm grateful to have shared it with you.